Joining me in the Cattle Studio for the last final episode of My Mayor is candidate for mayor Robert Blackmon. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me, as always. It's been a pleasure throughout these weeks and months to be here, and it's been a great service for the voters to get to know us better. So thank you very much for all you've done.
Sure, it's been our pleasure. Appreciate the candid answers and being up for all the weird questions. And we still haven't had our Oprah moment yet, so one of us probably needs to get Misty at some point during this. No,
you go first.
I'll go first. So, getting close to the big day, and it's a week away. And so, as our the theme of My Mayor is to get to know the person behind the policy. So we're going to finish up with a few questions that are not necessarily policy related, but again, giving people a chance to see you reflect upon yourself and show different sides of yourself. And so the first question is, what's been the biggest change that you felt has occurred in you, even if minor, during this last year of campaigning?
So the biggest change for me that I've seen over the course of the campaign is how much people really are looking for real leadership and how much people have reached out to me to express that. I've always prided myself, and even at forums, I've always said, I will meet with anybody, I'll speak with anybody, and I'm constantly willing to step outside of my comfort zone to get to know everyone in the city and every issue. My campaign slogan has been St. Pete for all, and I've tried to live that. And it's become so much easier jumping from council person to mayoral candidate because people have really reached out and they've given me happy stories of growth. They've given me sad stories of prices going up, of lack of opportunities in our city. And they've given me poignant stories about the changes they've seen, loved ones, who have suffered all sorts of different issues that people have seen in our city. And I've also, gone through some personally challenging times throughout the campaign. I've lost two of my best friends have passed away throughout the campaign cycle. So I think it's really allowed me to, even more so than I thought I was before, connect to people and be more open and vulnerable, both receiving input and critique, but also willing to put out positive messaging and plans for the future, because that's what the citizens want, but it's also what our city deserves, is somebody who's willing to be compassionate, somebody who's willing to fight for the people, not for themselves, for special interest, or for their own career enrichment, somebody who just really cares. And that's what I've been proud to try and work towards. And every day I'm reminded of why this race is so important when I hear from the people.
That's great. So any changes, anything that as you look back on working towards those goals and getting these new understandings, anything you would have done differently?
If I had this to do over, I don't know what I would have changed. I'm happy that I got in. I think there's a real chance to win this thing. We're down to less than a week. I would have tried to call some more of Ken Welch's donors, that's for sure, because I've been outraised over 2-1. But I think we've done a good job of proving that politics is about more than money. And I think we found a way to be really nimble and innovative with our messaging on a shoestring budget. Like I said, outraised by my current opponent 2-1. In the primary, I was outraised over 4-1 by an opponent who was ultimately unsuccessful making it through. And I think we're showing that you don't just need the most money to win an election. And politics shouldn't always be about who has the biggest wallet. It should be about who has the biggest heart, who cares the most, who has the most ideas, and who wants to bring about positive change the most. And I'm that guy. So, if I had it to do over again, I don't know how much I'd change. A lot of people who were in the race had been wanting to run for office and for mayor for a long, long time. And some people used that as a pejorative and said, XYZ didn't just wake up yesterday and decide to be mayor. Well, I kind of did. I got in the race the last hour of the filing deadline. And I didn't get in because I wanted to win for me. I got in because I didn't think anybody was representing the viewpoint of the true public servant, the true citizen leader. And I'm just a guy from St. Pete who wants to do the right thing and wants to help out the hometown. And I hope that message resonates And I hope that people remember that when they turn out to the polls next week.
That's great. And I think you covered a lot of this. The final question is, your final thoughts, as this is the last episode, and just to give you a chance to, to say what you want to be left in the brains of any undecided voters who are still out there.
Well, first of all, I'm extremely grateful for the outpouring of support that I've received from all angles and all aspects of our city. I think it really plays into, and I look at it more like COVID, right? People have felt so isolated and so alone. And, you don't realize how many people really look up to you and rely on you until you run for office. And so many people have reached out and been so supportive and done so much for me that I'm eternally grateful. And I don't know how I can ever thank everybody except for try and continue with the message that I have of purity in politics, of people first policy, and just trying to fight for everybody in our city to make sure we're great citywide. Our city, a lot would say, is headed in the right direction, and I agree with that. Being from here, a lot of these changes in growth we're in a place I never thought we'd be in. Not just this soon, but in my lifetime, I never thought St. Pete would be as hot as it is right now. But there's a lot of people who have not benefited from this growth. And we need to make sure that everyone has a seat at the table. If you've worked in St. Pete, if you're working in St. Pete, if you're a first responder, a teacher, a bartender, a server, we need to make sure that you have a voice, because you are what is part of what has made our St. Pete so special for so long. And my final thought is the best is yet to come for St. Petersburg. We have a bright, bright future ahead where everyone can benefit from growth, not just the chosen few. And we need to make sure, as I've said, the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats, that's not always true. Some people are drowning in that rising tide. We need to make sure that everybody has a seat on the boat. And we need to make sure that some people are throwing life preservers so they can get on the boat and enjoy the growth that we've had in St. Pete and make a St. Pete for all.
Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciated your participation. 15 or so episodes, candid answers, up for weird questions. It's been a pleasure, and wish you the best moving forward.
Thank you very much. November 2nd, less than 30% of people voted in the primary. We're at about 15% right now. Please, please vote and tell a friend, because even if you think your friends are voting, statistics say they're probably not. So tell those 3 out of 4 to get out there, vote. And even if it's not for me, do your civic duty, share the message, and vote.
Candidate Robert Blackmon.
Thank you.